Hello.
Hi everybody, this is Diana Suzanne. Today we're just going to kind of share that is getting a lot of attention today. I shared it on several pages and it's had different comments and about the Aunt Jemima, which is now the Quaker Oats Company, changing their syrup's name. So we've got some thoughts that we'd like to share, and maybe you could start, love?
Yeah. So the reason we decided to talk about it, obviously it's all over the news, but a trans Facebook friend posted about it today, kind of in a disparaging way and almost mocking the idea. And that was pretty upsetting because as marginalized people, we all need to be paying attention to the experiences and the problems of historically with the processes of and the artifacts of our marginalization. So we decided we should probably talk about it. So first of all, I wanted to say that I get it. I get not understanding why this image that was part of many of our childhoods should be a big deal. I get that feeling and that emotion and feeling like it's an overreaction and feeling like it has nothing to do with George Floyd being murdered or any of the other people of color who've been killed by police and the other forms of multiple forms of problems we have in our nation today. It was only a couple years ago I had a big Facebook argument with a writer friend who posted, at that time it was Beyonce's new video and she's on top of a car. Was it a police car? And it was sinking in the water. And I didn't understand the song. I didn't understand the anger. I thought that it wasn't useful for the concept of equality for Black people. And I said all kinds of stupid things like, I have a nephew who's half Black. I don't think I said I don't see color, but I may have. I talked about reverse racism and my perceived experiences of it as a white person. I did all the classic things that we should not be saying then or now. And I'm not far removed from that place. So I get, back then, would I have been defending the Aunt Jemima labeling and the other similar product packaging and branding that's out there? I don't know. But it's time for all of us to pay more attention, to listen to the realities that are now being readily available for us to process, right? The conversation is mainstream. There's no denying it. We're losing our excuses. Many of us came to our places of unintentional racism through no fault of our own. We're just raised with it, and we see images like Aunt Jemima and don't even recognize the historical roots of why it's problematic. It's not our faults for that. However, now is the time, and if we continue ignoring it, it does become our faults. It's my fault if I don't start researching it more, continue to research it and do it more. It's your fault if you ignore it and just dig down. Exactly. LGBTQ folks are marginalized. Here's one of the things I wanted to talk about. A few years ago, I started researching gender understandings around the world in different cultures by indigenous peoples all over the place, because I was working on a book, working on a couple of books actually related to that topic. So I want to just show you this map here. Oh, I'm glad. It kind of looks like it. You don't need to see the specifics, but I want you to see the number of points on the map. So that map shows you some countries in which there are understandings of gender historically and culturally. And in these countries, the gender understanding, the non-binary gender understanding, is often linked to spirituality. So, for example, the priests or the mediators between the spirit world and the physical world are often people who are non-binary, because the divine is not binary, whether that was seen as multiple spirits or gods or a single god. They're often the people recognize that God is more than male in particular. So just a few of the countries: Burkina Faso, Kenya, Madagascar, Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Borneo, Indonesia, Nepal, Tamil Nadu, West Sumatra, Albania, Hawaii, Mexico. Around 150 Native American peoples also have an understanding of gender that's non-binary. And so that's specific about gender, but the issues related to sexual orientation are often similarly celebrated or have been in the past in these Native peoples, Native understandings. And what happened is that in Christian colonization, we have Christianity, which anyone who reads the Bible with all his he's and fathers and patriarchal religious understanding and social structure. Christian colonization really started spreading in the, several centuries ago, the 15, 16, 1700s. Christian nations were traveling all over the place and capturing the countries primarily for economic reasons, but meanwhile projecting the Christian understanding of a male God, a male-female binary, and a homosexual sexual orientation as a standard. And they were persecuting the beautiful native understandings of those things, and shipping people to the United States to be used as slaves. We LGBTQ folks have a stake in what happened to our brothers and sisters of color. This marginalization that happens, this persecution that happens, this disenfranchisement of varying forms that happens, it's interrelated. And a lot of it has to do with our Christian historical roots. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And we can't deny the symbols, the wrongness of the symbols that linger, like Aunt Jemima. So there's a lot of, we are still, like I said, we are called to study, Diane and I are called to study this issue more. Our small amount of reading about this in particular is that this is an artifact, this persona of the happy, increasingly it was overweight, but it wasn't always overweight when it started, smiling, a particular stylized language form, was a product of slavery and then really propagated through the Jim Crow eras when women could not women in general could only get certain jobs, secretarial jobs, teaching jobs, things like that. Black women didn't even have that opportunity after slavery for nearly a century. They could only get jobs as house servants. And so we, white people, decided to take this thing, which was inequality, which came out of the brutalization of people, human beings, our brothers and sisters, and turned it into this warm and fuzzy thing. And now it's a relic, and people are fighting to keep it as if it's part of our white heritage in a way that is something that should be celebrated. It's wrong. We can't do it. I'm telling you now, you have heard this, it's up to you to start standing up against it. Sorry, I'm getting a little passionate.
It's okay.
I made a few notes. So we all have privilege. Diane and I are queer and we're a couple, so that gives us some challenges, but we're white. Right. And we're socioeconomically, not, we don't have much money, but we're not destitute, and we live in the United States. That's a lot of privilege. Gay people, cisgender gay people have privilege, and you should be speaking up for the rights of trans people. White trans people should be speaking up for people of color. All of us white people should be speaking up for and working towards the rights of and working towards removing the signs and the symbols and the processes and the systems of racism, discrimination, and just all of it. They're not separate. It's all one piece of cloth that we all need to work toward. And Aunt Jemima is part of it. We have to get rid of it. I'm sorry if it evokes warm memories of pancakes when you were a kid. Get over it. We all have to get over it and stand up for what is right. So I just went on for a long time. What you got, my love?
Well, today it dawned on me that today is the anniversary of the shooting by a white supremacist in an AME church. The Emmanuel 9 died 5 years ago today. And we started to talk about it. I thought, how much has really changed? And then I thought, how much have I done? I'll try not to cry. To help make that change. A lot of us will get on there and we'll say, don't eat at Chick-fil-A. They hate gay people. Don't buy Aunt Jemima pancake syrup until they change the name. And bravo to Quaker for doing it. I mean, it's been over 100 years, but they're doing it. And other products and other things like this need to change. Like my beloved said, I think one of the most important things that you said was, it's time. It's time. So what are you doing today? What can you do today? Use your voice. Use where you are. Use your platform. We're using this platform because we reach about 1 million people a day. You got to use what you have. Use your platform.
Yeah, God is calling us. We're each called. There's that old Chinese curse that says, "May you live in interesting times." Well, we're certainly living in interesting times, and that was a curse. But God calls us to the times and places, calls us to action within those, and this is ours. There are so many things, and it can feel draining. And you're not expected to change the world yourself, but within your little sphere. If you're seeing people complaining about the Aunt Jemima label, push back just a little. Send them a link, and admit that you're trying to learn more. And yeah, it is time. It's past time.
It's past time.
It's way past time. So, thank you for watching and for listening to my rant today. And I'm just going to circle back around. I get it. I've been there. I thought that I was in a good place 5 years ago or whenever it was that I had that conversation, because I thought I was woke. Well, I'm not. I'm still not woke. I still need to be woken. It's a process, but just get in there, okay? All right. Keep up the good work, all y'all. We love you. Take care.